Right, let's get you other news then. The Border Management Authority has still suspended operations at some of its border posts due to flooding. The affected posts in Limpopo include Stockpoort, Groblersbridge and Pontdrift ports. The BMA has advised travellers to seek alternative entry points. SABC News reporter Pimani Baloyi is part of our team watching developments, and she joins us now live. And Pimani, yesterday we had heard that the damage specifically at Stockpoort had been quite extensive. Help us locate where you are and the sense you're getting around when operations will finally resume.
Good morning, Ayanda, and good morning to our viewers. You are right. The damage at Stockport is quite extensive. From what we gather from the BMA, the entire corridor that leads up to that port of entry has been fully flooded. No one is able to enter the port of entry. But Ayanda, we are at the Groblersbridge port of entry, where you and I spoke from about a month ago, which had similar floods. When we spoke in around January, I was actually standing somewhere over there, but right now that area is fully flooded. Even those abolition facilities that you see right over there, we're able to enter them in January when we first came here, but right now it's completely flooded. No one can enter that area. You do see that truck that also was caught by the water and it's stuck there. We're not sure if the driver and the occupants were able to get out, but we've been told that there's been no fatalities and there's been no injuries. So we assume the driver of that truck was able to leave. But Ayanda, everything is underwater here. The area where passengers, your cargo ships get in to get their passport checked and stamped before entering South Africa, and even when they're leaving South Africa to Botswana, is fully flooded right now. It's just not operating. The BMA has had to halt operations on Monday. We understand that this is water that started flooding into this area during the weekend, and by Monday, the entire facility was unreachable. We also went to the other side, Ayanda, where there are residences for workers in this area, and we've seen fridges floating. Your various furniture, your fridges, your TVs and everything is just floating around because that residential area is fully flooded and staff workers have had to be evacuated. What we understand, because this is a national key point, there are police officers that are working to secure the facility, but all other personnel have had to be moved until a time that this flooding, the water subsides and workers are able to come back and work in a safe environment, and also people are able to pass through and in the process. But to speak more about the impact of this flooding, I'm joined by the senior manager from the SARS, Mrs. Ndo. Mrs. Ndo, thank you so much for your time. It's fully flooded. Take us through the impact this flooding has had on operations.
Thank you so much, ma'am. The port was closed yesterday. Our counterpart, which is Botswana, and the impact when we compare to the flood that occurred in January, it's high. As you can see now, the water has entered operational offices. The water has entered our warehouses where the goods are detained, illicit goods or goods that maybe they need to pay duties. And the water has entered our parking areas where vehicles have been detained and where the staff are parking their vehicles. The water has entered the residential, as we have indicated that furniture is floating. We have tried level best to move the furniture that we can move, and also we have evacuated staff. Currently there's no one at the port and the impact is severe.
I know financially it will take some time to assess how much this damage has cost, but this happened in January, a few weeks ago. What has been your investigation in terms of the loss suffered that time?
In January, the flood, the port was closed from the 14th until the 28th. We opened the port on the 29th. But when we compare the impact from January with this one, the impact was not that severe. In the infrastructure, yes, there was no damage to the infrastructure because the level of water did not reach the offices, the warehouses. So it was only the assessment in terms of resources where we check the IT facilities, infrastructures, and then we managed to open the port quickly.
I know Pontdrift and Stockport are closed, not operational right now. Let's talk about the impact. This is not the only one that you've had to close. What impact are we likely to see?
The Stockport and Pontdrift are non-designated port, meaning that they are non-commercial port. It will be only travelers with their personal belongings, though it has impact because it becomes a shorter route in terms of the movement, and it becomes the relief from this port in terms of the travelers. Then the impact to this port is the commercial port, where the cargo movement and travelers movement is experienced, and this is one of the second largest port. Is the road also to Zambia, the route from Zimbabwe, the route from DRC, the mining house, and this is the route also from Botswana, and serve as imports, permanent import, and also in transit to Durban Harbour out of the country.
Talking about such huge cargo which have a huge economic impact on our country's economy and GDP, let's talk about alternatives. Where can people go?
Yes, we do have alternative ports where the cargo can be rerouted, and people as well. The cargo will be rerouted to Baloyi, which is still in Limpopo, and also to northwest borders, that is Kopfontein, Skilpatsherk, Ramatlabama. And also we are in the process of deploying our employees there to relieve on the added cargo, because we are going to experience high volume of traffic that side, so that at least we should make movement quicker and turnaround time, though it's costly to the traders because of the long route that they have to take.
Talking about these long routes, when are we likely? I know you're not certain yet when the water will subside to levels where you can be able to operate, but how long is it likely to take for this port of entry and the two others in the province that are closed to come back to operation?
Sure, it is impossible to tell now. You can see that the level of the water now is very high and is still moving. We are expecting to rise also overnight, but once the water has subsided, then there will be an infrastructure assessment where it will determine the loss, and it will determine also the repair, and also ensure that everything is in order. After that, that's where now we can declare the port conducive and safe for processing both cargo and travelers.
As we wrap, Mrs. Ndo, I understand this is not the first time the 2000 floods affected this. 2014, there was similar. In comparison, how is it looking?
I think this one is likely to be the same as 2010. Because it has reached the level of the warehouse entering the operational offices, and we can't tell now. We don't know what to expect overnight. It might exceed even that 2010 flooding.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Ndo. Ayanda, the sun is out. It does not look like it will be raining here at Groblersbridge, but authorities are monitoring to see if, because they're saying this is water level that flowed from other rivers and streams from as far as the Hartebees to get to this. And as Ayanda, the most important thing, this is water that's coming from the crocodile-infested Limpopo River. So there's also fears of people getting harmed, but the BMA saying it's monitoring the situation. Police officers are also here making sure that as these operations remain halted, there is safety and security here. But they'll be monitoring the rains and water levels to ensure that when it's ready to resume its operations, it does so. Ayanda?
Sure, it is quite the sight. Pimani, Baloyi, thanks very much indeed for helping us tell this all-important story. There you have it, live visuals there from the Groblersbridge point of entry in Limpopo, still trying to recover from the devastating effects of recent heavy downpours that has led to flooding. A story without a doubt we'll keep watching.